Now we're actually good. So, updated, you know, audio or video thing there. Hold on, my thing over here is being weird. Where did the thing I was just working on go? Oh, oh, I see what it is. Well, I'm just gonna pull. We'll bring that back. Okay. So yes, here is the thing again for today. It's extremely rainy, like historically rainy. Okay. Some of the major roads have been closed. Rainy. Yeah, it's real bad. So, does it have running water? Well, it does today, just not where you want it. It's very rainy. So here's the thing. If my office internet cuts out, you will see the on-screen rain there, and they'll know exactly what happened. Now, this is detected via lack of audio, so if I am just silent for a little bit, of course the AC kicked on right when I was going to try and demonstrate that, and that will prevent that from working. If I'm silent for 5 seconds, or more accurately, if there's no audio for 5 seconds, then it will switch over to that. So that's how it works. Now, I was going to try and set up the same expander changes on my audio interface here that I did yesterday, but I was greeted with this, and just for the record, this is how every single Linux user views Windows nowadays. You're almost done setting up your PC. Your PC needs to be backed up and connected to a few more Microsoft services. Needs. Skips, there is no skip. There is remind me in 3 days and continue. This is what Microsoft is, just for the record. I don't blame Linux users having these views. Yeah, this is awful. Close enough, remind me in 3 days. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's Microsoft. It's the point I pop in Linux. Yeah, well, unfortunately, the driver stuff for my audio hardware only works on Windows. I don't know. It might run on Wine. I've never tried. But yeah, it's just really like, why do people still put up with that? I really don't get it. Hitting on a gaming PC for years. Oh my gosh, four. I just like I can't. Really. Do disable this in settings, otherwise it'll come. Oh, I know it's going to come back. Here's the thing. I could disable this. I use this computer so little that it just doesn't matter. Almost every single time I turn it on, there's going to be some new fresh nightmare. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's go ahead and remind me in 3 days. Mm-hmm. All right. Prepare for all the video to go weird. And weird. Okay, now weird. There we go. Okay. That's because why would I not want the Blackmagic software to, you know, leave the exposure of my cameras as it was? No, as soon as it connects it, it has to reset it to the lowest. Because that's apparently what we want. Okay, expander disabled. There we go. Now I got to go fix everything. So stupid. Mood lighting, yeah. It's the same lighting, different exposure. Something that people still, I think, don't fully understand in the video I did where I tried to demonstrate how my color correction works for making CRTs visible in videos. Although in that case, I did actually turn off the lighting. Anyway, hardware expander, it is. I mean, kinda. Alrighty. Only reason I haven't gone Linux is gaming. If you're not playing online games, there's no reason not to. I have not encountered a single game that just doesn't work at this point. Also, Lucky Bob, thank you for the Prime sub and for 10 months. I appreciate that. I had to mute Deck Talk during the intro so that it wouldn't trip the rain. Or hide the rain video. Doesn't count if you don't have tubes in. Oh, okay. All right. Today, we're back to working on this thing, the CD robot. Yep, it's out of focus and blurry and green and dark now and all that fun stuff. Yesterday, we kind of got everything working. There are two problems. One, the CD stub thing didn't end up working, and after thinking about it more, I think I'm going to try and use that CD stub file with other CDs. So we're going to try and hard code it to always use that, and we'll see how that works. The second thing is we know there is an existing bug where if a disk cannot be read, the robot will eject it, move it out of the tray, pick up the next disk and put it in, but the software will not know that it has done that. So the queue will be offset by 1. So we're going to try and account for that and the CD stub. So those are our two major goals for today. And with that, I think that's everything. So let's go get to work. Close that, pop this, boom, that. There we go. Grab coffee. All right. Wow. All right. Okay, so let me do a brief introduction here to explain all of the stuff. Settings, APLS, that won't work. The other thing I want to test today is the non-web version of the software and Greaseweasel. Make sure that's all working, because it's been a little while. Okay. Robot's not on. That's a double problem. Hold on. I'm going to unplug the robot. I'm going to rotate my monitor over here too so I can make sure I can actually read chat because I don't trust it. Turn robot on. I'm going to adjust the camera so I can actually see it. One moment here, then I hit this. There we go. That's the thing. All right, now I'm just gonna plug it back into data. Want a Steam Deck? I can recommend it. All right. And unlike everything else, Steam Deck is now cheaper than it used to be, I think. Okay. Refresh this. Not weird YouTube. Why? Refresh. Okay, although the software's not running because I unplugged the thing. Duh. And Dolphin died? Is there a Blue Book disk in the drive? Couldn't cope with Steam Deck. Hate controllers. I'm useless with them. Trying to write UDEV rules for the drives to get consists of dead. No. It's not needed. They always show up in the correct order as long as I power them in the right order. Dude, give me the disk! Gimme! I don't know why I was having such a hard time with it. We won't use that as our test disk today, that's for sure. Alright. Where is the driver case? There it is. Okay. I mean, it's pretty simple. I just power the robot before I plug it into the computer. That's it. That's the only thing you have to do. If you plug it into the computer first, this drive will be enumerated first because it gets USB power. That's it. That's the only difference. Elsewise, they're all on the exact same hub in this order from the top to bottom, so their USB IDs end up being in that order. Okay. I don't need that. Let's do this. Boom. Okay. Robot should do the hokey pokey here in a second. Oh, it's getting the calibration data. There we go. Perfect. Go up here, refresh the page. All right. Why did the top drive not do anything? It's going to make a liar out of me today. Eject, dev, SR2. Of course. Oh no, the top drive just isn't working. Oh, you know what? I bet it was because I had that disk in there. I bet that was the problem. It was doing whatever weird stuff. Alright, hold on. Unplug. I'm just going to power cycle it, too. Alright. I don't know why the deck talk didn't work there, Chloe. My apologies. Let me restart the software. It's not giving me any errors. There's like zero indication of why it doesn't work now. You know what? I know. Let me hold on here. How about I use the correct one that's probably fixed? That might help.
TikTok is now online. End of line.
There we go.
WCKYPOP 77S. Subscribe with Prime.egg. Subscribe for 10 months. Currently on 10.month.
Percent C will work now.
Says I'm hoping there is some Pentium Pro stuff today. Period.
And no, there won't be any Pentium Pro stuff. That's very obscure.
Robot rolling 1. Shelby 0. End of line.
There we are. And Chloe, thank you for the 200 bits there. All right, what was I doing? I was restarting the robot and then plugging it back in now that the drives will all be correct. Okay, eject SR2. Okay, but does the top one work at all right now? 3, 4, 1? Why is it 1? Oh, I know why. This is a non-issue, but an issue. All right, let's do the thing I don't want to do. That is not even close to how you spell tarantula. Yeah, in case they're not even playing the video, yeah, that looks about right. It's really bad today, the rain. Okay. Yeah, you know, cheap. The spelling was terrible when Shelby corrects it. Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh. All right, hold on here. That's a little too deep of a cut. Yeah, I don't feel bad for not remembering that. All right. Yeah. It's just that's a weird thing to pick out. All right. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, the thing I don't want to do. All right. Let's. I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna implement all this, and there's gonna be something else about this that breaks, so that this just doesn't work to begin with, and I'm gonna be annoyed.
CART 1443 S. Subscribe with Prime. They've subscribed for 39 months, currently on a 39-month streak, and says end of line. End of line.
Cart 1443, thank you for the Prime sub there, and for 39, that is 4 and 5, 30, that's 37, 8 and 1. That's not, no, it needs to be 7. 39 months. Thank you. I can count. Yeah, Wesley, that's what it's like outside of the front of my office right now. You cannot walk into the office without soaking your shoes at the moment. Disk by path. Not part UID, path. It is a lot of water for Arizona. Okay. No, we want USB, right? No, it's PCI USB. Okay. Pretty sure 6 is correct. So it's going to be this, and then the second one is what gets adjusted. Okay, we can test this by doing this. Eject, paste. That was not quite right. Oh, this is awful. Dev, disk, no, USB, disk, hold on, disk. by path that I mistyped eject again. Why didn't that work? Does eject not work with that? Go Gadget, thank you for the 100 bits. Drives are already open. You and your fancy, like, looking at the things that you're working on. Okay, so it works. We will rebuild DCAC. Okay. So it's this 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll figure out where this dies, because it does die. This does not work. I don't remember where it dies. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. You know what? I'm going to open this in a proper window so I can see all of the errors it's going to inevitably output. Want your work flawlessly? I'd take that. Oh no, robot, don't make me look stupid. Oh darn, I'd be so sad. Was that correct? Settings, no it was not. Okay, JSON decode, expecting property name, enclosed and double quotes. Okay, let's look at this over. Think those are correct. Think those are correct. And I think those are correct. So, where's the problem? It was line 30. Oh, of course, it's the complicated one. Okay, let's do this. And then, you know, what's kind of funny, and I never realized this until just now looking at the Atomic keyboard, the Dasher keyboard almost has something that I wish that every modern computer keyboard had, or at least external numpads do. There's a tab key next to the numpad. It's in the arrow cluster, but it's closer. So you could use your right hand to navigate cells. That's pretty sweet. All right, well, we'll save this, and then we'll rerun it, and then we'll see if it complains on a more specific line. Okay, 30 again. Okay, so it's complaining about the whole line. Why though? Expecting property name drives, but that is 30 is the, oh, stray character. Got it. I don't know where that came from. Maybe I accidentally thought I was in Vim for a moment. Alrighty. Now let's see if it works. You know, it'd be interesting. Might be CDRDAO that didn't work. This might actually work. And if this does work, that means we got to go back to CDRDAO and try that. All right. I guess foo by path. Start rip. Like equals in delete in that area is also, yeah. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be like PyCDIO or something that dies on it. Yeah, okay. So, find media type, media manager, next iter device, stop iteration. Okay. So, we know where it dies. And I suspect that's dying somewhere I cannot fix. So this is media manager. Okay, so it errored on line 149 here, which is from context pyudev. Okay. Sysname, yeah. Okay, so this only wants the SR path. And this one's kind of important. This is how we determine what kind of media is in the drive. This is a completely custom thing, I know. Essentially, as far as I'm aware, nothing else does what I want to do. If there's a symlink, you can read link F. We can try and find out. Did I open a second terminal? I did open a second terminal. It is a... Oh my gosh, why is it a relative symlink? Disgusting. Ugh. All right. Python get path of symlink. Okay, just OS read link. Okay. Does that... Well, absolute path doesn't actually matter here. Python 3. Import OS. Read link. Okay, just for kicks, we'll do this. See what it shows. This is not going to work because I don't have quotes. Okay. Now, what happens if I put SR1? How do I know it's a symlink without trying to do... Why doesn't it just pass the actual path? How hard could that be? I'm guessing dot resolve, maybe. Ooh, this might actually be better. Hold on. Hold on. Is that just OS from pathlib? Yeah, let's try this. That's not Python. Let's just close this one. Okay. Pathlib, path. Okay. Dot Resolve. Okay. And then pathlib, path dot resolve. Deal. Yeah, having it not be dependent on knowing whether or not it's a symlink is very much preferable. Now, how do I just get the path directly? Pathlib, path, get, path. This is really sucking C? Yeah. Bash 1 out of 10, C 1 out of 10, Python 23 out of 10? No, Benchiko, you are wrong. Okay, I just want the path. Print file path, parent, absolute. Do I just string, maybe? That'll work. Okay. We didn't even import OS. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. Okay. Import pathlib. And then drive path equal pathlib dot path drive path dot resolve string. Okay. Solve any symlinks to standard drive path. Okay. That should do. All right. APLS and go. Alrighty. Put and not any. Is it in a comment? Then it won't matter. All right. It put foo in there, so I need to get that back out. Okay. Now we go back to here. Foo. Pathlib. So stupid. All right. Okay, it's taking a pretty picture. Oh my gosh, so many people just cannot accept that I don't want to OCR the discs and try and rotate the label and figure out what they are. Holy moly, why does everyone think that that needs to be done? Because I published the video about swapping out the Blu-ray drives on the second channel yesterday, and dude, like half the comments are that, I swear. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. Copying photo, that's an insane photo to find. That's just ridiculous. It's an OCD thing, I assure you. I guess. Jeez. Throw CDs at people who say I need OCR, yeah. Okay, so far it seems like it's working here. Output, foo, pathlib, it's ripping it. Yeah, I think that's going to work, because after this it won't matter. Okay, we'll try CDRDAO after this to make sure that that's still valid. Unfortunately, though, Chloe, we know that the robot can't throw a CD. We tried. Why the API request? Oh, this? No, so the software is running on the computer. The robot connects over USB to a computer. So in theory, I could build a Raspberry Pi into this and then just have one USB cable plugged into the Pi and then it'll be self-contained. I don't really want to do that, I've decided, because then I got to manage network shares and that's like just networking. Gross. So having it be USB, I just plug one cable in, everything connects to the computer, and then I'm running my own software here that manages the web interface that you're seeing for starting and checking RIPs, and then we can control the robot. So yeah, runs on the computer that I'm working on, essentially. This is just 1 second keep alive, essentially, information. Like, actually, I should refresh. We can see up here the CD drive that is currently ripping has a green status showing that it's working. It's showing which sample is in that drive. In a moment, the status will change from green to yellow, and it will indicate that the disk is to be removed. And yeah. If the robot could throw a CD at people over the internet, sysadmins would have already had the tech to use a bunch of it. Yeah. They would have been a lot more common. Man, just get an OCR program to deal with rotated text. Have fun OCRing that. There are plenty of CDs where OCR is just not an option. How about this? That's, like, theoretically, that's probably possible, but that's highly stylized text. It's just, it's not going to happen. It does not make sense. Or the heat-sensitive ones. In fairness, it's heat-sensitive one that I'm aware of. There are probably more, but I only know of one. Like Invader Zim font, I mean, you're half right. Or 1/3 right, depending on how you look at it. Oh, I'm glad the Music Brains library handled the wonky path. Didn't even think about that. You know, I could just put the path resolution upstream. I don't think I should. I think it should only be handled where it is needed to be handled. So what if you want to sim link your drives to a specific name for things like the photos or whatever? I can see that being a use case. All right, yellow, because it's removing the disk. And there we go. I don't know if Ben's here. I think Ben isn't going to be able to watch today. I was looking forward to showing off my iconography. All right. I think... Oh, we got to try CDRDAO. So let's kill the software. All right. I'll just close this entirely, excuse me. We're going to go here. And we're going to rerun it for the first time without needing the -APLS. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and rip foo again. This is going to be with the CD drive built into the computer. Get back here. Ah. Oh, I bumped the webcam. Well, it was off already. All right, refresh. And this will be foo path. Wait, I didn't actually change it. Hold on. It would help for the test where I want to see if a change works to change the thing. Let's see where, you know, we can just use that one actually. Hold on. let me grab this, and then we'll use this, and then we'll go back to this, then we'll grab that, and then we're going to make this be our drive. Boop, it'll eject this one. Flash flood warning in effect? Yeah, even for me in the second story, it feels like. All right, F5, foo path, go. All right, here we go. So again, this is CDR-DAO based. So we'll see if this works. It's waiting to check for the disk. I think it's going to work. Just got the annoying tone on factory reset Android sitting on my computer. I'm not sure what you mean, Wesley. And land of sausage. Missing presumed fed. Yeah, I think that's working. Okay. Oh, or is it working? I'll give it a moment. Maybe it's not working. Did it die? Do we have logs for CDR-DAO? I think that's the command, not the output. This is probably output. No. Yeah, that's the command. I'm going to kill it and try and run the command directly. Oh! Who knows what the problem is? Was it going to be this one? Problem is you're writing in Python. No, the problem is these drives no longer work with CDR-DAO. Okay, that's the correct path. So I have to use the non-redump firmware drive. Still wish I knew why. I mean, it's not like I'll never not wish I knew why, but, you know, just I don't know why still. Okay, so let me set this. All right. Now we'll try it again. No, I don't want it to be ejected. Fine, whatever. All right, reload. Okay, foo. Path to go. I'm just going to close the drive now. Ugh. You know, I gotta say, the internet's been way more stable than I would have guessed. I don't know why. Like, even if it crashes right now because I mentioned it, all of yesterday worked fine as far as I'm aware. So clearly the rain does not have any impact on the LTE signal. I wonder what the correlation has been in the past then. Because we did have problems when it was raining. Foo path to bin queue. We're getting a bin. Okay, that's working. Why should it? I don't know. Because water very clearly impacts RF signals, especially high frequency ones. Well, I think that is paths working now. It replaces aging 4G antenna enclosures, filling it with water, yeah. All right, well, I think we can make that commit. Because it's enjoying the rain. Well, in that case, I understand it. All right, git diff. Make sure that's the only change. Pathlib. That is literally the only change. Okay, git commit -am. Fix using symlink paths for optical drives allows disk by path. Git push. It would be nice if it was a new transmitter. Here, my phone is on the same network, although this gets 5G. I mean, this thing says its 5G signal is mwah, perfect, but I don't know. The internet, office internet, is not 5G. It is 4G only. Which was intentional, actually, because 4G is less susceptible to interference.
Napoleon Bonaparte subscribed with Prime. They've subscribed for 2 months. End of line.
Napoleon Bonaparte, thank you for the Prime sub and for 2 months. I appreciate that. Staying home using Wi-Fi and whatnot. Well, I mean, that would not... I mean, today's rain, yeah, I can see that. Yesterday's, not so much. Yesterday's rain was like, it's some pretty good rain. Today it was actually kind of scary driving here. Like, there were a couple of times like, is this worth it? Should I just turn around? And it's now a submarine, yeah. Rookie. Yeah, okay. What condition are the windshield wipers on your car in, living in Arizona? You discovered an advantage not being on the ground floor? That's not true. You know what the ground floor doesn't have happen? Roof leaks. Grew up driving on ice? That's not the problem. Vacuum wipers. Got a middle floor, best floor? Probably, actually, other than potentially noisy neighbors. Wiper blades go faster, yeah. Doors for water to flood through? A change has been made to the second floor office since the new landlords came here. Water has gotten, I'm not even kidding, this close to my door now. I'm very nervous about it. Buy wipers once here in Arizona, no exceptions. Yeah, the actual real worst problem about it is that the windshield in the van is very ancient and very worn just from existing, and water. It needs like the Rain-X treatment, but I think it probably is just too far gone. It probably just needs a new windshield purely to keep the water from just sticking to it. It's really bad. That's the real problem with driving the van in the rain. Okay. CD stub and the error disk. Okay, so let's look at CD stub now. Oh gosh, this one's going to be complicated. Rain-X works well for old tired windshields. Yeah, zero glass deductible for the wind. Come on, you think the van is worth having insurance on? No, you have to have insurance. But yeah, none of my insurance is for covering anything to do with the van. Van gets a flat tire and it's totaled. When the needle on the tank is on E, the van is totaled. Get in an accident, the only thing you're going to give me when the van is called off is a slap on the back and a aw shucks. I mean, like currently the van needs a complete suspension rebuild. And the problem is that that is the cost, that is genuinely the cost of the value of the van. It's not one of those things where like I could just go get another one though, because they're all going to need that. Because they're all 20 years old. So it's like, all right, so CD stub. I did not finish explaining this. So when we do a rip of a disc and it is a audio disc, okay, one of the things we get is this file. This is MusicBrain's JSON file. This contains all of the metadata for the CD, like the album name, the genres, the song names, and all that fun stuff. There is a chance, instead of getting a full data set like that, that we instead get this, which is much smaller and has much less data. Now, I thought I added handling for this yesterday because Lena Heim, a viewer here, is the only person who has a disc that matches this. Now, this is for the game Forsaken, but their disc is a... I'm gonna just show their disc on here because it's kind of weird. And yeah, this is some kind of magazine special disc. I'm not 100% sure. Once I saw this, I was like, I'm not even gonna try and find my copy of Forsaken because I doubt that it's going to match this. So this is the one that gets a CD stub, which I find insane that it even matches the disc entry. But yeah, so I'm dealing with this, which is just possibly returned at random by anything, but I can't test this myself. So I'm gonna try and force a test of this by I think adding a time. So I'm gonna add a weight to the metadata thing. We're gonna do Beck, all right, because that CD has very few tracks. And then we're going to, during the wait, the sleep time, we're going to open its JSON file like this, and we're going to paste in this data, and then when it rereads it in the data conversion step, it will find CD stub information, and I'll be able to debug it from there. That's my goal. So we're going to try and do that here and see how this works. Hopefully this is going to be a workable solution for testing this, because I don't really have a lot of other options other than potentially buying a US copy of Forsaken just to see if maybe it is the same as that demo disc. I think I might have a loose copy of it somewhere, but it would be in 2 milk crates that I have of loose jewel cases that are completely full of PC software, and I really didn't want to dig through those this morning. Instead, I turned on the Deck Writer 2 for the first time and was very sad. It didn't blow up, but it didn't work either. All right, now I think what happens is it just doesn't match it, but we'll find out. All right, F5. Okay, so we're gonna go back stub, and then I'm going to kill the software because I forgot to add a sleep. So let's go to handler, media, and then CD redumper. All right. After the music brains query, somewhere around here it will write. File, open, write. Okay, so right there, receive metadata. It writes the data. So we're going to add, let's just add it right at the end. Print sleeping to allow CD stub injection. Time, sleep, 30. And then we'll make sure time's actually imported. Perfect. Okay. Let's rerun it. No, I don't want a screenshot. I am so unbelievably spoiled by having remapped caps lock to the super key so that I can use it for window management. It's currently control on this keyboard, and it's driving me crazy. Because there needs to be just one more function key on the left side. A couple of games like that, I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, hold on. Let me catch up here. Black card needs new rear shocks. They are specific to the convertible. Torn between OEM. Full coilovers for 100 more. Yeah, so my front shocks are going to be like $400 each because they are coilovers already. This should otherwise be totally uninteresting. So it is totally uninteresting, yes, because it's just a standard mix mode, yes. The only thing about it is the music brains entry, which is something someone else did. So, a couple of games like that, move from a CD, had cars in game to same use car radio tracks. Yeah, so the mixed disc is not the problem. I have hundreds of mixed media discs. That's not the thing. The only thing that matters is the metadata entry on music brains, which is an external source entirely. So yeah. Front shocks are 180 a piece. Her Ford items, Jaguar fittings. Ford version are 35 each. That sucks. That's awful. You know, it goes both ways, too. At one point, I was helping someone work on a Lincoln LS Ford car, except it's actually a Jaguar underneath, complete with reverse steer, or rear steer, and other horrible things. All right. Let's start the rip, see what we can do. I'm going to grab the CD stub metadata, and then watch the output folder. Gogo Gadget, yeah, that is it. All right, come on, get your music brains data. Technically, we have the whole time that it's ripping the CD too, where we can modify this, but I just wanted to have the thing in there. Ford Era XJ, yeah, I think it's probably the same as that Lincoln LS, actually. There's probably just parts both ways. Does yours have the really difficult to change coil packs that you have to remove the upper intake to get to? All right. We CD stubbed that. I don't know why it didn't do the weight. At least it didn't matter. Lexus had that. Ugh. All right, now we just wait for this to rip, which should not take long. Yeah, see, the van's way more sensible. The coilovers are not coilovers. The coil plug packs are not blocked by the intake. Instead, they're blocked by the entire cowling underneath of the windshield on one side of the engine. You have to take apart so much to even change the spark plugs on the back side of the engine. It's ridiculous. So, guess who's never changed the spark plugs on that side of the engine before? Never did rear plugs for that reason. Yeah, exactly. I had one ignition coil go bad, and thankfully it was on the front. Pulled the engine without even removing the hood, front hinged hood. Yeah, I've kind of adopted the car shop rule that if you're doing any serious work, just pull the hood off. It's not worth it. Get it out of the way. Makes it so much easier to light the whole place and everything. It's better. All right. Convert, wave to flag. Conversion, no worky. Okay. We have information. Now, I might, in theory, be able to just run this back multiple times. Give me the disc. I have an idea for a feature. I want to see if I can do this really quick. This is like a side quest, an unrelated objective, a tangent, if you will. I want to look at the controller for Auto Publisher here. All right. Do we get the full system settings? Or full settings here? Does not look like it. Controller, config data. Okay, so we passed config data. That might work. You know what? That's going to be acceptable. We can do that. Config data, debug, print. Let's do debug, unload. And I'm going to paste this into the settings file. Auto Publisher, debug, unload, true. Okay. And then, one moment. If debug, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on. Save instant get, set bin. Okay, hold on. Do this. If debug, unload, bin unload equal bin load. When I'm debugging something, it'd be real swell if it could just put the disk back in the bin that it took it out of. That would be really nice. I'm saying we should Polestar swap. We would swap the van. Just said if we want to know where a motor is, yeah. Same when I'm not here to defend itself, yeah. Newsflash, there's currently water falling from the sky. Oh, there's so much. Supercharge the van. Okay. It's got 289,000 miles on it. Do you think it will survive any performance enhancements? Additionally, with the horrible suspension, it breaks the tires loose all the time as is. It just funk right on the back when I try to accelerate. It's awful. I really need to get the suspension fixed. Unload back. Do same drive when debugging. Unload back to same bin. Okay. Now, somewhere around here, it sets that to 1 and 3 or whatever. Okay, let's try this. Set bin, Control F. Where are we setting bin? Config data, bin order. Okay, so that's the start bin. That'll work. Yeah, but for how long, Fuzzball? So those twist and coil lifts jobs done. Don't, yeah. But hey, Matt, how's it going? We are currently writing software for my CD robot here for archiving disks, and I'm trying to debug some stuff. Okay, let's test this real quick, like, to see if it works with that modification. I save all the things. I think I did. All right. You're investigating limits your remaining sanity. Sometimes it feels like when I'm fighting the robot. For sure. Back. Reload. Just make sure that it goes back to where it came from. Gosh. Hope your Sunday's going well. Currently watching over some homemade stuffed cabbage rolls. Cool. My Sunday is very moist. It is catastrophic rain here right now. Let's see if it's still there. Let's look it through the Google Now cards before stream started. I had a photo of one of our major freeways. For those of you in Arizona, the 60 was closed because it was flooded. Having that one be closed, little rough. Why is there a Brutal Legend thing? Brutal Legend dev shared previously unseen pitch for the classic. It's whatever. Monsoon? No, I think it's hurricane remnants, actually. Oh, I forgot to put the CD stuff, stub thing in. You know what? It doesn't matter. How long did the last one take to rip? 3 minutes? 2.5? 3? Yeah, let's just let it go. Google Now still exists? Was it called Google Now? I don't remember. It's the Google News cards. Usually 10 floods. Didn't know 60 floods? Yeah. At least you didn't get LGR. Yeah, well, that's not an impossibility, but that's not going to happen today. There's no wind for that. Had 3 cars floating in. I like that he just phrased it. Not that it was closed, but that there were dummies. It is Google Now. Yeah, Google Now cards. That it rolled off the tongue as I was thinking it there. You're right. So on this, you just go, and there it is. That's all. Two of them Waymos. I don't know, man. The Waymos seem like better drivers than most people. Gotta be real. They're more responsive at the lights because they're not looking at cell phones because they are a cell phone. They actually go the speed limit. They do this crazy thing where they use turn signals. That's a high bar, I know, right? All right, it should go back to this bin. This will make life a lot easier. Let's see if it does. Score! Okay. Beautiful. All right, now we can run tests a lot easier. Okay, and I don't have to touch it and fight and get the disc back. Yeah, they stop for pedestrians, bicyclists mostly. You're thinking of Uber. As far as I'm aware, the only thing a Waymo has done is hit the bus that kind of popped out of its blind spot in a weird space. The Waymo was at fault, but it was an edge case. Not to defend them, just calling it as it is. Okay, where's the... that's the stub. Okay, I want to make sure I have that copied. Okay, so we need to go to the media reader thing because I need to disable the try catch on there yet again. Try. Seems like I'm always disabling this. I feel like maybe I should have a debug mode where this is not active, but that sounds like work, so let's not. Okay. Instead, we'll just do Control D, and then Control D, and then Control Shift Tab. Nope. Where am I? There we are. Okay, why did it lose track of the try? Okay, hold on. Shift Tab. There. Gosh. Having Control moved is really messing with my brain. I really hate it being in the caps lock position so much. All right, now we can see what the error is. Gearing up the last day off for a marathon of stuff. Got a comedy gig Friday. It's being filmed in a movie soundstage. Ooh, next week TV pilot filming. Awesome, that sounds like fun. Well, definitely taking some time to chill. Sounds like it'll be helpful for that. All right. Back, will fail. Clear blue sky, 35% humidity, impossible weather up here. Taking up residence under the squirrel acorn tree. Awesome, best tree. Oh, still working your day job? Ah. That is a lot. Why do self-driving cars have blind spots? Surely you can just add more cameras. It was, I don't think it was actually a blind spot. I think it was more that the bus did something it wasn't expecting. Like, I think what happened is the bus was in the separate bus lane off to the side, and the Waymo had stopped, like, up there, and then the bus tried to go around the Waymo, and then the Waymo hit it. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe there was a bus and then a turn lane with the Waymo. It's been a little while since I saw the article. But it was a weird situation where the bus was not somewhere the Waymo expected it to be. All the shortcuts start to make sense, huh? So why are C and V arguably the two most common control things lower than that when your pinky, which is the shortest finger, is going to be used for control, which means that your hand has to rotate weirdly. Now, I will staunchly hate against caps lock control. It's terrible, it's stupid, and it's dumb for modern computers. Caps lock key is a dead key on a keyboard. I remapped it to the super key. The meta key, the Windows key, however you want to think about it. On most of my keyboards, I can then hold that key and then click anywhere to move my windows around. It's way better than the actual Windows key, which is like under your palm, so it's almost impossible to press. Yeah, see, Swarm, I don't understand that. It just does not compute. But perhaps it's because, for me, home row is WASD. Caps lock for meta for the win. Yeah, see, it makes way more sense for that. Left control the side of your hand. I bet you hate ThinkPads that put the function key on the outside then. All right. Oh, I forgot to... Oops. This... Okay. I forgot to replace the CD stub data. Okay. Back. Take 2. Hey, I don't have to do anything. It's just gonna put it right back in. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have tried left control or caps lock control multiple times. I've never liked it, ever. It does not work on modern computers. I have given it way more of a fair shake than I really should have. Constantly catching caps lock with your pinky while gaming. I don't have that. I have never had errant key presses like that. So the Windows key, like, being a problem for people, not been a problem for me. Just toggle caps lock for all capitalizations instead of using shift. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Swarm, I think there's some people who have stubborn, no offense, like, just straight up, this is how I view it. I think there are some people who have stubbornly forced themselves to use that for hipster reasons. Again, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like you choose that for no good reason. And then they like it more because that's what they're used to. I am convinced that's what it is. Because, yeah, happy hacker keyboard people. Because you didn't force? Then how on earth? Because there was not really any kind of transition period from, like, DOS to GUIs. The GUIs all had, like, different shortcuts. Assuming that's the path, not starting from Unix or something. Tried it immediately, was a breath of fresh air. I don't get it. That is so weird. Is that why people do Dvorak? No, because Dvorak actually is better. Genuinely, I have tried to learn, I have learned Dvorak in the past. It is a superior layout. The problem is that not everything uses Dvorak all the time, and switching back and forth sucks, so it's not worth it. All right, now it's a CD stub on the current rip. So this should fail. I don't know, you Swarm, you might be the exception. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The other thing is, it seems like, well, maybe it's just because I complain about it so passionately, or dispassionately, let's say, that the people who say they like it so much are passionate about it, like, too much. I don't know. Muscle memory is hard on the fly to brain retrain. It's more that it really sucks going back and forth between the two. What are we talking about? Control being on caps lock. I hate it. I think it's stupid and it's dumb and it doesn't make sense. Because undo, cut, copy, and paste are all below the caps lock key, which makes it wildly uncomfortable to use for that. Okay, artist. Key error artist. Okay, so we have our error. But it is, oh, it's CD stub artist. Ooh, I made a oopsie. Ah, I tried. I was going to miss the sneeze again. Oh my gosh. Ah. Exactly, Fuzzball. Yeah, that's the thing. So what I did is I thought I have like 7 Model Ms. So I swapped one to Dvorak, and I thought it would be cool because, you know, I got a Dvorak Model M. That's like king nerd, all right? And I was going to learn how to use it. So I started doing it because on Linux it's really easy to set it up as Dvorak, you know. Started using it. I actually preferred Dvorak as a layout. It is better. But then I would go use my laptop, and it's like, oh, I am not swapping all of the keys around on my laptop because I know those tiny little tabs are super prone to breaking. So now the layout that I'm not super familiar with is a lot more difficult to use on this computer because I can't just look at the keyboard. I have to actually memorize it, and I wasn't at that point yet. So I was going back and forth between laptop with actual keys that were QWERTY, and I could not use Dvorak on it. So then I would be going back from QWERTY to Dvorak, back and forth. Use stickers? That's awful. That's terrible. So, yeah, no. Yeah, the problem with putting stickers on the laptop is then taking them off later. Okay, so I want the wave object here. Data, wave. And then I screwed this up. CD stub. Yeah, I forgot this. That's all I forgot. Copy, paste, and then I probably forgot it down here too. No, because I did that. Okay, so this is probably it. All right, so I'm going to copy the CD stub data again, kill the software, restart it. We'll rip back once more. It's still on the drive though. Laser projected keyboard. I really want one of those just because they're like the ultimate ThinkGeek item. I would love to get one that comes in a ThinkGeek box. It's the ultimate garbage that seems cool that no one would actually use. Remember seeing those in Sharper Image? That would be another good brand for it. I would accept ThinkGeek or Sharper Image. Sanity. Pinky on caps and X looks like this. That is a horrible position for your pinky and index finger. That's just asking for a cramp. And I don't see you mentioning Control Z there either, where it gets even worse. All right, back, but with stub. Asking for a cramp. Caps plus Z is bad. Yeah, exactly. One of those things is ultra send to make any screen touch. In motion. That sounds familiar. Yeah, I think I remember that. That would have been like, I'm going to guess like 2006 to 2008, around that time. Because I remember that being slightly early Wii era. Yeah, it mounts on the top. Yeah, I remember wanting that for a Windows XP computer. The resolution is going to be horrendous. And I thought it wasn't ultrasonic, though. I thought it was like a webcam. I thought that was how it worked. But so maybe I'm thinking of something else. You ever did stuff on IBM 5150? Only many things, if you look on my YouTube channel. Alright, it's this one. I gotta wait for the stub to show up. I typed Dvorak, use Apple computers, command keys, direct space bar, so I've never had these problems. Again, I loved Dvorak. I will not say Dvorak is a bad idea. For me, I could not go back and forth between Dvorak and QWERTY. Find it, I'll put it in the donation pile. I would very much enjoy that. Dude, in the late 2000s, I was all over that stuff. I think his name's Johnny Lee. Wiimote hacks for different things. Oh, dude, I made a Wiimote whiteboard. It was incredible with a like garbage tier projector. It was awesome. Don't go back and forth. Yeah, on every one. Yeah. See, but the problem is that I could not overcome the laptops. So I didn't want to like I have my Microsoft Surface here. I am not rearranging all the keys on the Microsoft Surface to be Dvorak because I don't want to break them, and I don't want to put stickers on it. And it's just, yeah. If I didn't use so many computers, it would be easier. If you could only have one retro PC, what PC would I own? Why does that have to end at 46? Because a Pentium is the best computer. So it'd be 486 because that'd be the closest to a Pentium. Yeah. Let me put it this way. There are 0 redeeming features for any computer older than a socket 7. Including Pentium. Yeah, then it's a tiny Pentium. Winner. Done. Next question. Touch type. That requires learning the layout first, which means you're going to have to swap keys on one of the keyboards. You're not going to go from no knowledge to innate knowledge. You got to have some lead in there. I think it just worked. I think we just fixed it. I think CD stub works now. All right. That is 2 problems solved today. Pentium 2, there's no reason to get a Pentium 2 over a Pentium 1. It's just a Pentium 1, but faster. I'll put it this way. I only have one vintage computer at home. Well, I mean, long term. And it's a tiny Pentium. The caveat that it has to be an MMX. Yeah, that's why, yeah, of course. Isn't but faster a reason by itself? No. It is very much not. Because if you take that extreme, then it would just be insert current gen Intel i9 here because it's the exact same architecture. That would be my favorite system. Yeah, so we can I need to not commit the changes here. Disabled QWERTY, spent about a week hunting, pecking in Dvorak, literally typing every key until the screen gave me the letter I wanted. Oh, that is a brutal way of doing that. I am impressed, but also horrified. Current gen i9 isn't real. All right, git diff. All right, that was basically it right there. And then I added the debug unload. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Oh wait, no, hold on. Let me do this. Slow. No, we want that removed. That doesn't actually do what I thought it would do for some reason, but I do want it gone. I think this is an error state. For some reason. I don't know why, but whatever. Leap motion, that sounds like it. That sounds much more like it to me. Oh, yeah, that sounds really familiar. Wait a minute, isn't leap motion the one that you put in front of your keyboard and that was hand gestures? Yeah, that's hand gestures. There was definitely one that was like what you described. This one's different. That one's also cool. All right, I'll say this about the evolution of the PC architecture. There is no compelling reason to go slower than, say, a Pentium. Because unless you're playing something that needs the slow processor, you can run everything on a Pentium. But there's also no compelling reason to go faster than a Pentium, because everything after, I'm going to say Pentium 4, is exactly the same, just faster. PCIe exists, multi-core exists, hyper-threading exists. The Pentium, the Windows XP computer I built with a Pentium D and a PCIe GPU would be exactly the same as a Windows Vista computer, as a Windows 7 computer, as a Windows 8 computer, which is why there will never be another 20th anniversary again, because it's just, look up what the most popular parts were for those years, buy those, put it together, say blah, blah, blah. There's nothing unique or special behind it. So you have to draw the line somewhere. Now, I say the line is drawn at Pentium 4 for retro computers. That's it. That is the line. But I feel like you don't really gain anything other than speed, and you only lose the functionality of ISA cards going from a Pentium MMX to a Pentium 4. So somewhere along in that area is the sweet spot. The Pentium 3s are a little bit harder to use some older stuff. So a Pentium 1 or a Pentium 2 are usually better, and the Pentium 1 boards tend to be more flexible, so I would say those. So that's why Socket 7, Pentium boards, that's just where it's at. That is the ideal computer for a vintage computer. You know, running LBA, you'll redefine slow. Yeah. Retro line, PCIe AGP, or AGP and PCIe. So, I don't think so. I think AGP gets to be retro. Actual GPUs started on AGP, which is kind of cool. But then PCIe is just everything. So, it's different. So AGP is alone in what it can do. That makes it unique. AGP is unique. AGP, oh yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, that's the perfect line right there. I can agree with that. But first gen PCIe, I will grandfather as retro because it's, you know, that was new at that time. But the problem is that that's still what we use today. Penny 4 inclusive in your net, that is, I'm saying that is the line, is Pentium 4. So Pentium 4 gets to be retro. Any single thing after that, so basically core and on, is not. Pentium 4 also, I don't know if this is maybe just personal experience, or if other people could corroborate this. I feel Pentium 4s were also the last time computers had identities, where you could recognize a specific computer, and mostly that's down to the Dell Dimensions and the Optiplexes, that those were so ubiquitous during the Pentium 4 era that those are kind of the Pentium 4 computer. So there was nothing after that that really had the same impact. So it's kind of Pentium 4 half gets in because of that. Old gateways, but those are older. I'm saying after the Dell gray box, there was nothing as iconic for a single computer or computer line. Everything else was just commodity computers. Well, Paul Guy, that's also different. I'm saying there was no one ubiquitous computer other than just insert current gen MacBook with a pair on the back and television shows. That's it. So I feel the ubiquity of the Dells and the final introduction of new features of the Pentium 4 make that the dividing line. And I don't think it'll ever move. Because, again, every single feature on modern processors, aside from P cores and E cores, that didn't exist then, but every single fundamental feature existed in Pentium 4. Multi-core, hyper-threading, it was all there. Very well, I could see that being local to the US, Swarm, for sure. I was thinking more US-centric in that regard. I don't know if there would have been anything like that in other regions. It feels like, well, I have too much of an outside perspective. I can't even really speculate. But in the US, I feel like that was incredibly dominant. Pair in the back, you watched iCarly. That was literally every single television show. Local OEM PC builders were dead? Yeah, oh, definitely. For sure. Okay, git diff. Let's check this again. Cutoff for P4? No, 775 gets included. That's part of how you get all of the multi-threading and multi-core. But that is the line. Once you stick a Core 2 in there, it's no longer a retro computer. It could be a video, budget game rigs for modern gaming. I'm sure that 30 other channels have already made that video. ATI All-in-Wonder with remotes was the greatest time. They were fine. I don't know. But I am an authority. If I were going to do it, it would require so much research because of the authority perspective. And I would have to be able to really drive home the point of why that, you know, like Dziak pointed out, an LJ775 Pentium 4 is the line. That is the last stand for retro computers and will be until the end of time. Oh, you said for modern gaming. Oh, wait, never mind. No, yeah, no, that I'm never doing that. No. No way. I thought you were talking about doing a video on what defines a retro computer. Wow, Digital Ice Age, that is very far behind. Okay, git commit dash am fix issue with cd stub data. Git push. I'm gonna ping Lena Heim on Discord about that. Okay, give me one moment. Okay. Catching up here. What about after the end of time? Well, everything will be ARM then. Heat death of the universe will be powered by ARM. See the day when having a CPU made by Intel is considered a retro computer? I don't think so. I think it'll be people will think about Intel like they thought about AMD in the early 2010s. Make a video on modern budget gaming machines when the sponsors tell you to. You're gonna like it, yeah. Okay, they also played Laserdisc in chemistry class in 2014. Well, I mean, dude, I would have been so excited because I had Laserdiscs. That's the throwback stuff. With the laser barcode attachment. I have one of those. I bought it for the Laserdisc ripping video, and then I decided it didn't make the cut. Oh, no, I bought it for the soft strip video. That's right. And decided I couldn't work it into the script. So I actually have one complete in box. All right. Next error is bad disks. So let's disable the debug unload. False. All right. Now, how do we want to handle this? So what I should do is I should dig under this. We'll keep Beck because it actually rips faster than Foo Fighters. I don't want Lego, although Lego should actually rip very fast because I think it's even less data. You know what? We'll try Lego Racer. Okay, so let's see the bad behavior first. So I'm going to put Lego Racer under a CDR here, okay? And I want to attempt to rip Lego Racer, but it will pick up the CDR and it will be a bad disk. Let's make a video on how to properly archive. Notice you moved away from ARU, for example. Is there something wrong with it? When did I never really settled on ARU. Redumper and ARU are, in my eyes, equivalent. But there was firmware for Redumper specifically that allowed these drives to work better. So that was why I went with that. I feel I'm getting closer to happy with how I can make a CD ripping video, so I feel like that is closer than it has ever been before. But I still don't have all of my questions answered. For example, how could I provide data to someone else to duplicate this disk? In theory, I could duplicate this disk here because I have a machine specifically designed for that, which I don't know how works. But how could I send subcode data to allow someone else to replicate a karaoke CD plus G disk? So you don't have one of those drives, what should you use? The answer is only going to be buying a new drive. Because there's too many CD drives. Old one, yes, but they go through the IPC interface and don't have DMA, so they're not useful. All right, Lego, bad. All right, so this is gonna load a CDR, fail, kick the CDR out, then go grab Lego Racer if the behavior does what I think it will. Yeah, Paul Guy, yeah. Shouldn't it load Lego in the second drive? No. because I didn't tell it there was a second disk. So what it's doing right now is it is attempting to load Lego. I've told Lego it is the top disk. It's not. The top disk is bad. Won't your debug unload interfere? No, I disabled it. I added that as a parameter. So it's now going to, well, that's different. Oh, okay. Well, it did actually lock up. Why didn't it load a next disk? That's curious. Okay, let me explain what just happened. If we go to the optical interface, all right, when it doesn't detect a disk, so load, what it will do is if it is not able to find a disk, it'll say, please insert into the drive, and then it, excuse me, will eject. Eject then called the controller, right? It called the controller eject? Optical eject, controller eject, yeah. So it called the controller eject, and then the controller tried to eject again. And the thing is it'll attempt to eject, it'll update, hey, dummy, put in a disk, so we're flashing red. And then it waits 10 seconds, tries it again, and then if there's no disk, it will run again. It will try to eject again. So it's currently trying to remove the disk multiple times. So if that's the behavior, why did it put the wrong disk in the next drive, or why did it put the next disk in there last time? Thanks, logic went a little wonky. And I mean, here's the thing. This part of the logic is designed for hand loading disks. That's what it's for. I think what I need to do is have a... How did we get to this, though? All right, hold on. Disk inserted, continuing, taking photo of media. It probably took a picture. We can go check the temp folder, make sure it did. I would like to, because this is behaving weirdly. I wanna try and work backwards to figure out what it did. So we're gonna look at the log for a bit here. Temp, disk rip, photo. There should be a picture of the Lego disk. No, the picture of the CDR, that's right. Okay, so that's correct. Okay. Taking photo of media, it waits. And then it said, please insert, disk inserted, please insert Lego in. Okay, so that's this line. And then it errored because it couldn't read it. Okay. So, a photo. So we check for media photo, check photo, media handler. Let's look at the media handler object here. Or is this just handler? Photo. No. Oh, I didn't do that. Hold on. Photo. Okay. Check photo. So this looks for a photo. Okay. So media reader. We check photo. That's what we did here. Taking photo. No, that's different. So that's part of the disk load procedure. Okay, updating API, controller, APLS, updating API, updating drive status. It runs controller commands to load the disk. So we need to go down to rip auto. Let's walk our way through this. So load media type, media sample controller. Okay, so that would have loaded it. Then we print pprint media sample information. So that would have been here. But why did this not hold? Find media type. Okay, disconcerted, take photo. So let me look at the... What did I change here? I didn't mean to change anything. We'll take a look at APLS again. So when we load, not command load, load, okay. Load disk, there should be a photo command in here somewhere. Photo drive, okay. So takes a photo right here, closes the tray, sets it inactive. All right. Media manager, load media, okay. I don't know why that was printed after. Okay, so then we find media type. Find media type runs here, I think, or is it media manager? No, it's media manager. Okay. Return none. That shouldn't be possible. So I don't think that ran. IO control, so that only runs during load in optical. So we got optical again. Okay, load. It'll run controller load, but it should only get to this if a controller isn't set. So where is this being called that a controller isn't set? So find media type. It's a manager. Media match, media handler, media type. But this, yes, media type. Okay, that's important. Okay. This does not have a load or unload though. So that's not it. Okay. Okay, please insert. Updating API. It pretty prints after. Hold on, there's a loop section here. Wait for preceding processes. No, it's not that. Is it in RIP? Handlers, not none. This is weird. I might just need to add a bunch of print statements to try and figure out where exactly this is failing. Yeah, all right. All right, let's just do it. Let me kill this. Guaranteed to fail at a point that's, weird? Yeah, no kidding. Drive status, media reader. Yeah, that's setting it. So this will stop here and it will go up to here. Okay, we find media type again, set output, check photo. I'll grab that. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here and retry and see what happens. Good news is I have unlimited CDRs here, so I can just put the Lego Racer one under. Not have to worry about it. All right. Expected response 6, actual response L, yeah. Okay. CDR. Go. Okay, media manager, load media type. Disk inserted, continuing. Interesting. Taking photo. Okay. Maybe we got more rain than you realize. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Please insert CDR into. Okay. Interesting. It hasn't actually broken out of the original load yet. Okay. Updating drive status. Okay, that was beneficial. Okay. So we saw media manager load media type. So that was down here. Load media type. We never saw find media type. So it goes through. So it's running this load media type that's in manager. Okay, load media type. It should use the controller to load, and it does because we can see the auto publisher commands being sent. So the auto publisher commands happen. It closes the tray. This is the load command. So it sends it closes all other trays. Excuse me. Opens one tray, puts it in there. Okay, loading disk. Loading tray, set bin. And photo drive. So it takes a picture. Then it releases the active status. Okay, it closes the tray. Okay, so it takes a photo. So this was from load media type, load. So that would be optical. So if controller is not none, if controller, okay. So what happens? Okay. So this returns false. Always. And what has happened is it would return false. It says, please insert it into the drive. And then it will attempt to check how many tracks the disk has as a way of validating that there is a disk in the drive. This is not... I mean, does a DVD show as one track? I never really paid attention to this. It probably does. So if it finds tracks, then it continues. If it doesn't find tracks, then it attempts to eject. Self-eject. So eject looks for the controller, uses that because it was already set. So it ejects with the controller. Then it comes back. Web update, drive status. So there should be an API update. Yep. Okay. Then it waits. While true. Okay. It tries to check again. It fails. And then it will sleep for 10 seconds every time after. And try and go. Okay. So this is the point where we need to change the logic. Okay. What am I being notified of? Okay. So this goes back to, we need an abort option. But guaranteeing the media is unloaded is complicated. I don't know why the reload is being called, though. Oh, it's attempting to eject again and there's no disk. That's what it's doing. Okay. Maybe I was wrong that one time and it didn't try and put a disk back in. Maybe I was, maybe I thought it was doing something else. Or maybe... Ooh, that's a weird one. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try again with this. Lego is under a CDR. We're not changing any logic. I'm going to restart it. I think I know what's going to happen. Okay. So we F5, come on, drives are ready. Okay. So I'm going to set the first one is CDR, and then this I'm going to add another one for Lego. So what happens? CDR never releases the drive, but then it runs eject, and then eject marks the drive as free. And then once the CDR one gets hung up, it releases the ARM because it's not doing anything. It then thinks that the top drive is free and loads the next sample into the top drive. So let's see what happens. I don't know, it didn't do what I thought it would. It may have taken too long to fail on the top one, though. I don't know. I'm going to add one more for kicks. CDR2. Because the next thing it should do is try and kick out the top disk. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? All right, I'll wait for it to get into the fail spot and then I'll add one. What's Lego Racer looking like? Yeah, that camera's a little messed up. I'm going to have to reposition that. We'll use a actually aligned photo in OBS on here with a circle dead in the center on the top drive and use that to align the camera position. Okay, so it's going to remove this because it's a fail. And then it tries to remove it again, but there's nothing there. So now, is it marked free, and will it try to eject the next one? No. Okay. Okay. I think it should handle bad discs. I think bad discs should be skipped. I don't know if they should be put on the reject spindle, though. Because if we're working with 200 discs, we may not want to have them all pile up there and then maybe like block the bottom drive. So I think it should go into the unload spindle. But we don't currently have a way of aborting an existing rip. So I think we need to add that. All right, what's this going to look like? All right, I'm going to take the CDR out of the bottom drive so I don't forget about it. This position, while weird, is acceptable because it will always raise it. What are we working on? So we fixed two things already. You can now use Symlink drive paths, which allows you to use the disk by path to specify the drives. And CD stubs now fully work. We're currently looking at how the software can handle unreadable disks. So maybe you have a bunch of used PS1 disks and some kids use them as skateboards on tile. You might want to try and read them, but then they fail, and then they mess up your disk queue. Currently what it does is actually locks up the robot trying to constantly eject a disk that doesn't exist. So, yeah. So what I need to do is have it abort somehow. Do you have specially made scratch discs? I mean, in a sense, yes. I have CDRs that aren't burnt. Those are always bad. So basically what we need to do is else abort, read, and skip to next sample. Sure. Print disk is bad. Now I'm not sure how to handle this. So do we take any returns? This is load. Load was being called by it was the load media thing in manager. So it was load media type load. Okay. So I think we should return this. Okay. And then under media reader, load media type. Okay. So if not load media reader, whatever thing. So if this returns false, then we do we eject? I think we have to eject. So eject media type, because it will be loaded, but it will be bad. And then we need to do some status stuff. So set drive status. 2 for... Yeah, hold on. Queued for removal. 2. Disk on... I don't know what just happened there. Disk... Actually, media unreadable. Removing from queue. Okay. And then we will fully return after this. So we would eject media type, and then we would set it to idle and set drive status to 0. Media was unreadable. Okay, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to change it from none or not to equals false specifically. That way, if it doesn't return anything, it's also fine. It has to return false. And then this should probably return true most of the time. Oh, what needs to happen is it does this, but only once. This will return true, and then if it's bad, we'll return false. False. Yeah. Okay, then it will eject. You know what, actually, we need to wait a little bit. Copy. Or maybe we do... You know, let's do something else. So it loads. What we'll do is if controller is not none, and then we'll do error underscore count equal 0. Control paste, no. If controller is none, then it ejects and it tells the monkey to put the disk in. And if it's not, it will do this. Whoops. Error count plus equal 1. If error count is greater than 10. Return false. There we go. And then this can be return true. Okay. Think that'll work. All right. So this now will always return false correctly. So go back to media reader. It'll load. If it gets a false, then sets the status to removing. It ejects it. Sets the status to idle. And then we will return, which should end rip auto, which is the process start point, which when that ends, it should free up everything related to that. Drive status 0, yeah. Okay. I think that'll work. All right, let's try this. Okay. All right, so we load CDR, start rip. CDR should fail and get ejected. Oh no, Lena Heim found an issue that's, oh gosh, it's not a real issue. Okay, I think that just worked correctly. So now I'll put in Lego. And it should use the top drive. I think that just worked correctly. I think that behaved correctly. Gpin, we wish we could implement a yeet command, but it doesn't. It's not possible. Oh, CDR is still in the queue. Why? And why was it able to use the top drive? Why? Ooh, okay, hold on. Why is it still in the queue? Okay, a web update, queue. Is it because it wasn't marked as done somehow? So Lego gets removed because it's done. That goes so fast because it's already been ripped, by the way. Control F, done. Update. Okay, we might, oh, queue update. Okay, I think we need this. Okay, let's redo this. I think it's basically a visual-only bug with the web software. Okay. All right. CDR. Start rip. I'm going to make it user configurable, whether or not it outputs to the fifth spindle or not. Because I can't decide right now if I want it to or not. So I'm going to have a unload error boolean on here. Eject error equal none. And then hold on, let me just do this. It was removed from the queue. Perfect. Okay. Let me set this as false, actually. Oh, gosh. False. If error go to bin 5, else there. You know what? And let's do this. Config data. Disk error unload bin 5. Make it the default behavior to do that. Oh my gosh. It is killing me having control not be in the normal spot. If error and self instance whatever, or is it config? I think it is this. Instance data, no, this should be config. Okay, and then optical, no, manager. No, media reader. This will eject media type. That's a problem. Eject media type from media manager. Controller error equal false. Eject error equal error, but these won't all have error. I feel like I've introduced more technical debt into this than I anticipated, but I think that's just because it's doing things and it's complicated. And I really, really hate how multi-process programs work. It's so terrible. So bad. Question, for those of you who've done multi-threaded programs like this in the past, okay? You have a global settings file that includes settings information that basically every single process is going to have to use. Do you, A, load it once from the beginning and pass it to every process as a variable, or B, have every process load the file itself? I think B doesn't work. I mean, assume for B that you'll never launch more than one process at a time and you won't have issues with collisions of reading the file. So I'm doing A here, but it means that I have to pass around so much data all the time that it becomes like really difficult to manage. Maybe we put error into media sample. Error equal true. Yeah, but that doesn't work because then I got to test if the key's there, which is a whole other thing. Typically use multi-threaded rather than multi-process, so they share memory. Yeah, but you're also the one who keeps just hounding me for using Python, so I feel like your options are probably different in whatever other languages there are. Whereas Python, to do it the multi-threaded way where you can share memory, you have to use these specially blessed variable types that are kind of awful. I was going to try and use an SQLite database front end, but then it turned out you still have concurrency issues with multiple things trying to access it at once. So like, it still didn't work. Well, maybe we just do a has attribute call rather than stuff error handler things all over. How can I tell it it's an error? It is a plasma, yes. That is a 2012 Panasonic 3D plasma. "65 inches of glory." It is pretty incredible. I love that thing. I'm so happy to get it. I just need to find another wall like that that I can dedicate to rear projection. Why is it in the shop? Because I wanted a plasma. It's oh my gosh, I really have to make a video on the Qualia 005 soon. I wasn't planning on it, but it has to be soon because Hisense has that stupid new TV with RGB dimming zones, and I can't. I gotta make the video where I say the real first RGB backlit TV came out in 2004 because it is not that Hisense TV. Granted, it wasn't for local dimming zones, it was for color calibration, but it's still the first color RGB backlit television. So, nah, that one was good because it was 3D and came with glasses. And it's actually in phenomenal condition. It ticked every box I wanted. Smaller might have been better, but I think that was the best one to go with overall. I don't know how to tell this to do an error eject. How can I pass this to it? So I don't think this is the answer. I'm going to not worry about it. You know what? No error eject. That's just simplest thing. The stupid, like, $30,000 one that LTT reviewed recently. That he didn't keep based on a coin toss.
For a goose as CHEER, 200 just to be clear, the CX is an end of line.
Chloe, thank you for the 200 bits. Alright, then we go up here, and we get rid of... It's already gone, okay. There's no error stuff. Here. Okay, that's correct. And then media reader. Get rid of error stuff. There. Okay. Well, we're going to go with that for now. Which 30K TV should have a theater room? I mean, I think the business... No, I don't think the business owns it. I think he buys it from the company. But yeah, it is a privileged position for sure. My TVs are only worth $10,000 when they were new. So that's, you know, I'm totally normal.
AKA as they have given 44 gift subs in the channel. End of line.
Dziak, thank you for the gifted sub. Granted, I paid $40 for that $10,000 TV because that's the way technology works. But the Qualia 005 was $10,000 when it was new, and that was in 2004. So appreciation, it's worth a little more now, or would have equivalently been worth more now. Okay, what are we doing? I need to commit this. Let's get diff. Let's make sure everything looks on the up and up. Okay, return media type. That's good. Down here. We don't do that anymore. That's fine. We have the error counter. It returns true if it works. And then if there's an error, if there's no controller, it ejects it. And then... Technically, you have 100 seconds to put a disc in. So you do have to be slightly on the ball, or it will fail out. If you're doing single drive. That's a minor problem. Let's make that work differently. Optical. If error count... If controller is none, and there. Now it'll only error out if you have a controller defined. That way, using a single drive by hand still works. There we go. Where CRT tubes glass? Because they had to be transparent. Because they developed from vacuum tubes, which were vacuums, and glass is good at holding a vacuum. Oh, we can get rid of all the print statements. We don't need those. Yeah. glad I'm checking through this. Get rid of those. Go up to normal rip. Yeah, it's mostly just the history of how they evolved from other tube types. Okay. Why didn't they make 3D OLEDs? Because 3D was dead by then. I think it's maybe starting to make a slight comeback, but I think we're going to get the lenticular ones before anything else. Oh, there's one more. I gotta clear out media reader. That. All right, I made enough changes. I'm gonna run this one more time. I'm gonna make sure it actually works. Someone make, yeah, yin, it's fake and dumb and stupid. It's the Samsung Odyssey 3D. It's relatively new. Here's the problem. This doesn't do side by side. It needs proprietary 3D software to work with it. So it's useless. Would love to have this, but it's garbage. So, and it's not OLED. Oh wait, wasn't it that it's not even 3D and it's just the Wiimote tracking 3D? I don't remember now. Wait, is it actually 3D or not? Yeah, even that one, their AI is just being slapped onto existing technology. That television from 2012 does automatic 3D depth mapping. So don't read into that too much. They're just using AI as a buzzword there. What was that NVIDIA 3D thing that they deprecated? 3D vision. Yeah. Side by side is garbage. Whatever frame packing you want to do, it doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is it doesn't use a standard 3D signal. So you cannot just use it with any media that you want. Okay, I ran the software. Hold on. Let's make it fail on a CDR. Oh wait, that's going to be Lego Racer. One moment. Start. Let's have it fail. Then I'll put Lego in, make it work. Yeah, Swarm, I got plenty of Byte magazines that talk about AI. Well, that's failing faster than I would have liked. What's going on there? Some ain't happy. OS driver, yeah, you just killed the disk drive by spamming it. What on earth happened? Okay, let's look at this. Controller is none, eject. Well, apparently controller was not... Controller is not Wait a minute. Yeah, if controller is none, we want eject. I think I'm going to have to restart this and watch a little more closely because I am not sure what just happened. Okay, I'm going to be ready with the Control S to stop the output here. Okay, pulls it in. Checking for it. And failing. Okay, hold on. Updating API. Man, it spammed fast. Jeez. It's filled the buffer in that amount of time. Good grief. Okay. So it's running the drive API thing, which is this. Wait load. Oh, I know this needs to go here. But I still should have errored out. Error count plus 10. If controller is not none and error count is over. Wait, if controller, yeah, is not none. Yeah, that's what I need. Okay. Okay, we'll try this now. That won't work. I think this will have fixed it. All right. Oops, sorry. All right. CDR and go. Why? There. Because I bumped it. It had homed and then that was on me. That was 100% on me. Okay. You know, I think I want the check photo. Oh, but this is part of the same thing, isn't it? I never get to check photo. Okay, this should error 10 times, and it waits 10 seconds between each error, and then it should fail. So it's going to take a little while. But this is what we want it to do. So we're just going to sit and wait, and eventually it should eject it. All right. Whee. All right. What else we got going on? This is going to be the last major thing that's broken. I think it will be. As far as I'm aware. I know Lena Hyman Discord tried to run this and it didn't like something, and I don't know what, because it's always weird. Can we turn it loose on a stack of discs yet? After this, I think yes, we could. Okay, there. It gave up on it. That's how it should work. Perfect. All right, then it's removed from the queue. Yep. What is the magic about 10 tries? I don't know. Feels like it gives it a good old college try after 10. Iced Killer, essentially, yes. Anything that came on a disc. CDs, games, music, DVDs, technically Blu-rays and stuff like that. So, yeah, any of that can be put into this machine now. It worked on my machine. Yeah, unfortunately, this one's really complicated with that, though. Just so that we know it's working well, Lego. It should know that drives for each, put Lego Racer in there. There won't be anything that needs 11 tries. I could honestly probably get away with just 3. Yep, there we go. Lego Racers worked. Photo should show up in a moment. Yep. Oh, I really bumped the webcam. Let's fix that next. But we can commit this, so that's functional. All right. Back to the folder. All right. Git, commit, -am, disk, or media sample rejection possible. Git push. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a disk in the tray. I'm going to align it using OBS. And then we're going to test a couple of other modes the software can run in to make sure that it's still working. So this can also run as a CLI, and it can accept a CSV for a list of media samples. And we haven't run that in a long time. So I don't know if that code is still working. I would like to make sure. The live stream showing what's being... Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be like a 24/7 thing where it's like running all the time, but we'll definitely do some live streams where we just rip stuff. Because I'll be ripping and scanning, most likely, at the same time. All right. OBS. Let's do this. It's going to be the best way to figure out the alignment. Add video capture device, webcam. Yep. Okay, let's do resolution. 1280-720 will probably work. Yeah. And then video format, PGR3, and that'll be fast. Okay. Let's full screen that now. GIMP. New 1920 1080. Okay. Control A, circle, select, and then can I do... No, that doesn't work. Okay. Hold on. What if I do... That still doesn't work. I think I do it till it kind of looks like a circle. It's probably good enough. I know this is supposed to be the not jank solution, but let's jank it up just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Export as disk. know what the comments are going to be without even looking. And yep, I was right. Yin. All right, there we go. Filters, add color correction, opacity. Okay. So part of the problem is that this is not like, it doesn't firmly stick. There's a little bit of wobble. So from there to there is not like solid. But not a lot I can do about that. Okay, now we need to center this a little bit. Oh, this is like going all kinds of wrong. Okay, well that's too high up. So we need one more click down there. That's better. Okay, let's find the ideal position. And that click, well, that's pretty close right there. Okay. I think that's it right there. I'm going to torque that down. All right. That'll do. All right. There we go. And just to make sure, this isn't running. Core XY ceiling mounted camera. That'll be after I finally get a Core XY printer. Come on. I don't think this is going to be a good angle. I think it will be for the top. I don't think it is for the bottom. I needed a second disc down there. Oops. We're going to have to redo that. So I just want to see what this looks like. I think it's going to be okay, but It's not going to be acceptable. Yeah, that looks great, but a bottom tray one will not. So, all right, let's just do, well, I'll let it finish because then it'll be fast. All right. And done. Okay. So let's go back to OBS. And I think I should actually try a little harder on this reference image. Ugh. Okay, hold on. GIMP. No. That. Just no background, man. No one wants a background color. Okay. Add alpha channel. Delete. Position 420. 0. Size 1080 by 1080. There. File, export as, disk, replace. Yes. Okay. Now we have to reload OBS. Oh, did it automatically reload the image? Okay, that'll work. Okay. Robot is extremely limited in what kinds of CDs it can handle. It will never handle weird-sized ones. The hoppers have these rails in them, okay? These allow air to pass around the CD when it falls down so it falls consistently. But they also have a tiny little stupid friggin' tab at the top that is the easiest thing to break ever. This one over here has two of them broken, and now this one has one. And that's going to make it impossible to use this now, so that's delightful. The discs are not going to align correctly anymore. All right. So here's the problem. The hubs, the center one and the bottom, isn't aligned. So let me make this more opaque. And let's reposition this again. That's better. But we're not over the disc. Okay, but I want to go down one click. Maybe 2 clicks? There's a lot of stuff to balance and really difficult to visualize. And having like tiny little indentations and everything to mess up the alignments is making it hard. Okay. Pretty close. Okay, I think that's it. But the rotation... Okay, then it has to... Ugh. Okay. Nope, rotation's out again. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's the position. Yeah, but this capture does not matter at all. So, whatever. Okay, I'm locking it down. Here's why I don't zoom out more. It also has to capture that one. The more I zoom out, the worse it gets for the bottom discs. How did that get rotated? Okay, there. Alright, that's the position. That should be good. Except it got rotated like this again. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Good enough. I'm not messing with it more. I can see the bottom hub perfectly through there, so that's good. Okay. Wow, that fits the tray almost perfect. But because it's rotated weird, you can see it in the bottom right. It's not correct. Okay. That's good. That's not a thing I need to commit to get. All right. Command line version. All right, I'm going to put my loose media samples away here really quick. Because they're kind of building up and being a problem, and I don't want them getting damaged. I've been through a lot of iterations, potentially. This is just the best option. I don't know why it would be better to move it to the arm as opposed to where it is now, though. Actually, I'm going to go fix that stupid little alignment stick thing. Just going to hold it on with tape, which ends up not working out great because it will catch. But I have to have a solution. There we go. Maybe it's time I finally trace these things too with the silver Sharpie, because they suck so much to align, although that won't help the rotational alignment. There. Okay. Command line version. So again, this has not been run in a while, so this may just die immediately. That's right, you can't call the phone. Deal with it. I'd close the window for some reason. All right. Let's go PyDisk rip test. Okay, this is our settings. We do use the settings, same settings. And we're going to do disk rip -c. Output this to list or q.csv. Boom. Okay. So media type, optical, drive, dev, SR0, name, let's go with Lego, description, Lego Racers. Okay, save. And then we, in theory, should be able to provide that, and then -s, settings. Okay, let's see if this works. It's been a long time since I ran it this way. Okay, that worked. And died. Okay. Config data sample. Okay, so the config data is not inlined into the sample in the other one, so media reader. So ripq groups, Control F, config underscore data. Somewhere in here, it gets read into the media sample. If config data, no, media sample config data equals config data. Okay. But also gets added to it somewhere. Okay, hold on. Let's do the opposite way. So we have this check. So rip Q. Okay, media sample. 4 media samples in media sample. Media sample done, continue, okay. And then set config data. If config data not in media sample config data equals config data, save, okay. Let's try this again. Okay, it's ejecting the disk. We stop and wait. Oh yeah, so it died on was trying to set a web update. I think in theory that's fine because it sends a web update, but there's no web server running. So there's nothing to receive it, so it works. So I should be able to close the drive, and then we'll just continue. Does anyone else absolutely loathe modern cases that put the ports above the optical bays? Because I have an audio cable that I have plugged into the front panel on this, so I can plug headphones in case I need to hear sound on this. But invariably, it will hang down to the side of the CD tray and get caught on the side of the lip. No matter what, every time without fail. So stupid. It looks like it is ripping. Okay. I want to see if we can use redump with this, because I don't know. So it's external sound cards. Well, there's USB ports on the front of the computer too. There's all kinds of things where it'll be a pain in the butt. On my computer at home, I have a DaVinci Resolve authentication dongle, so I don't have to have an internet connection because, you know, someone's internet connection sucks. And that I have on a USB extension cable. It's only about that long. And I plug it into the front of my computer, and I permanently leave the dongle on the USB extension cable. That way the part that gets unplugged and plugged in is not part of the dongle itself, so the dongle doesn't get worn out. And I have it plugged into the front of the computer in case I want to move it to another machine, and that cable will hang down and get caught in the drive trays as well. No one has control over how the cable goes. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's try this with redumper, and we'll use a different drive. So it'll be CD redumper. Copy, paste, CD. Redumper will work with this drive, actually. So that's fine. And we can try this again. I'll just delete Lego. We'll see what it does. BenQ split. I mean, it's just gonna work, man. Okay, it's kind of cool when you write software and it works the way that you would think it would work, and it does like things. Yeah, well, I wasn't asking for a solution. I was asking for a commiseration of how stupid modern case designs are. Port should go below the optical base, or the 5 1/4 inch base. It's like ergonomics 101. The cable doesn't hang to the side. That's not how it works. So it shouldn't take too much longer because it's only like 100 megs or something for this disk. Again, I wasn't looking for solutions, Vorpal Sword.
"59 RAers from T2SDE have joined." End of line.
T2SDE and Raiders, hello and welcome. I hope your stream went well there, T2SDE. We are still working on my CD robot, but we actually just hit a pretty significant milestone. All known issues with my software are currently solved with this. I'm even going back and testing that my command line mode for the software still works with all of the new changes. So we have the fancy pants web version that takes media photos or takes photos of the things that are going in, rips them. It also derives different file types from everything. But I also have this set up so that you can run it in a nice little single command that just reads data from a CSV, make it quick and easy to use. And it looks like both modes are still working. So, yeah. Is it running T2 Linux? No, I'm running Kubuntu on my computer here, but this thing does not have a computer in it. It is just a USB device. So we're currently just waiting for it to read this disk, which I'm now thinking I might want to skip. It looks like it's all going to work correctly here. I'm reading it using a software package that doesn't handle non-supported drives well. But I don't... Okay. This is where this becomes an interesting question. Is there any reason not to merge this back into main now? Is the web version good? Is it done? Is it like acceptable? Because I have been working in the web branch. I can archive my CD library now, yes. But I've been working in the web branch for months, trying to make sure that this has, so last update 3 months ago, trying to make sure that I could get all of the features that I wanted into this, because it required some significant rewrites, but I think we're there. I think it's ready. It's not like there's other people actually using it. I think this is it. So if I switch to web, I think web has a lot of updates to the README as well. Yeah, some README updates. Okay. This branch is 117 commits ahead of main. Yeah, I might have been working on this a little while. This started out as just the web interface being added, but then the web interface became adding support for this, which is complicated. What does it do? The software? The software handles the management of ripping media. So mostly CDs in this example. You know what? Let's test the Grease Weasel actually, because it also supports using a Grease Weasel to rip floppy disks. We haven't done that in a while. Make sure that still works. So let's look at that. Oh, gosh. I think down here, yeah. Okay. There's a bunch of stuff on top of the floppy drive that I have for my semi-permanent Grease Weasel setup here. Okay. So we have a disk in there. I don't know what's in it. So the Grease Weasel's here, the floppy drive's here, the power is there. Maybe I should get this rusty staple out from underneath of the floppy drive. Actually, why does it seem like this floppy drive is not powering when I flip that switch? Because the solder is extremely broken. One moment. Why are all of the Burge connector floppies like this? Jeez, like every single one of them. It's all just trash. Oh, wow, the power connector itself isn't floppy anymore. Crazy. There we go. Yeah, Bob, that's how it feels some days. Okay. Now I can plug this in. Oh, wait, does the power supply have power? Yeah, it does. Okay, I felt it kick to life that time. All right, I don't know if that disc is good. We'll still just try and read it either way. All right, so back to here. I'm going to run... Let's just make a new settings file. This is more complicated. Okay. So let's output settings floppy.json. Open with Kate. Okay, so we're going to configure this with a single grease weasel on drive A. There will be no optical drives. We don't need the dummy option. We do need the grease weasel controller though, which is not in the default stuff. I didn't realize. Okay, let's go to here, and I guess it doesn't have any config data. That's why. Okay, well that'll explain it. So we don't need a controller. We just set the controller ID to greaseweasel 1. We really not? Greaseweasel. Maybe if type is floppy, then... I don't remember how this works. We'll find out. That might all work fine. Output, watch, dot, input. Okay, we'll see what this does. We're going to launch this as a web version first. Okay. Floppy, go. Okay. So F5. So we only have an A floppy drive. So we have our stuff down here. We're going to use the IBM 144. Let's just do test floppy. Okay. Start rip. Key error GW1. Okay, so we have to make a greaseweasel controller. I don't remember how I set that up. So that's not good. Do I have anywhere around here an example of a greaseweasel setup? OneDrive, settings, single, ruh-roh. Okay. Maybe, crazy, maybe I documented it. Nope. All right. Let's see. Just gonna grab that real quick. Paste. Boom. Okay. Controller type. Greaseweasel. ID. GW1. I think serial port is supported, but we don't actually need that. So let's just not have that. Okay. Let's just see if that works. Drive IO error. High CDIO. Oh, wait a minute. Why is that? That was my fault. We should fix that. So floppy 3.5, blah, 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 go. Okay, please load. I did. Go. And it should now attempt to read it. And it is. Boom. We're reading the flux. It's over here. It's limited, not hazivigid. There we go. Flux. Boom. All right. So floppy is still working. Hello, Silent Searchlight. I don't remember if this is a IBM formatted disk or not. So it may not like the output from the flux. Also don't know why we don't have a data object yet, but we'll just wait. Because it may not show up until after. It is. It's going to be weird to have this be done. Like working. I mean, it's not done. There's still plenty I could do, but like usable. All right, 75 tracks out of 83 probably, because I didn't limit it. Although the format's set, so I don't know if that'll limit it. It did. Okay, no, it did not. Yes, it did. Okay, so it hates this data. Why am I not... Let me control F5. Why am I not getting the middle data? That's really weird. Why didn't I get a status thing for the floppy? Uncaught and promise. Status view JSON. Load status. Okay, something's not happy. Let's see. Time added is undefined. So why did floppy not get the time added? Or was it something else in this folder? Well, either way, I think we should make it more robust to handle that. Web. Static. Okay, status view. This is 248. Okay. There's a Control F has. No, how do you determine? JS element has attribute. Okay. 88 split time added. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is for sorting. That's slightly more important that they have it. Why doesn't it? Okay, let me look at the status for the floppy. Because now this seems a little wonky. Output, blah, 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 status, status. Yeah, it did not get time added. No, time added, right there. Is there something else that's breaking it? Let's just delete everything but the last one. Ah, there we go. Weird. Okay, Control F5. Okay. So something else that did it. We'll just ignore that for now. Oh, I bet I know what it was. It was the output from the CSV rip. That didn't have it. Because it doesn't follow the same standards. So if you mix those, it can mess up your output folder. That sucks. Why did I not get a flux image, though? So, let's see, blah, 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 does all that. Okay, no handler found for binary. The HXC thing may not have worked. All right, let's try something. I'm going to close this. I'm going to restart it. I'm going to put in the exact same name. I'm so glad I used that name. I'm going to put the disk back in the drive. Reload this, and then I'm going to try and have it reprocess it. PyCDIO error, but okay, that's true. Hold on, Control C, relaunch, F5, set F5, floppy, start, okay. Should not redo the flux. Oh, I gotta click the thing. Yes, it's loaded. Okay. I think the HXC command did not work. Because what it's supposed to do is generate a flux image and then show that where the photos of the drives goes. Okay, found data handler flux, converting flux to binary, found data handler, HXC conversion no worky. Okay, that's the problem. Let's look at that really quick. HXC image. So this, what does it try to run? Because it's HXC is kind of a pain in the butt. HXC FE. Oh, I know. Okay, this isn't going to work on this computer. One of the things that I want to add to the repo, I'll do that later, is basically a shell script that you put in your system that overwrites the HXC FE command, and then it will change directory into the folder where the HXC FE command is, because this looks for object libraries right next to it where it's run, so you can only run the console command for HXC in the folder where the binary is. So the other option would be to like copy this next to the flux files and then run it from there, but that's bleh. So yeah, I need to wrap this. So this isn't gonna run here. I have this file at home. Let's not worry about that for right now. So this works enough. Okay. Yeah, I think we're, man. I think I made some minor changes, but then I think we get diff. What did I change? Yeah, I did that. Is that it? That was it. Okay, git commit. Hold on, git commit. Git commit -am. Fix CSV not having config data in media sample. Git push. All right. I think I merge it to main now. I think it's done enough. I think it's been proven to be robust enough. Yeah, I can't think of any reason to not. Okay. Let me look at the README here really quick, though. And maybe add the grease weasel as a floppy sample or a config sample. Seems like a good idea. So, disk rip. Do that. So there's drives grease weasel, but there's no controller grease weasel. Gotta go? Alright, see you later. Might as well commit that. Git commit GW as sample output settings. Git push. Alright. Okay, rip list. That's still all true. Valid media type CD, DVD, floppy. Technically Blu-ray now, in a way. Blu-ray. Some Blu-ray. Okay, configuration file. Yep. System things, pre-gap detection, ripping. Technically, that's handled with redump. So that's like a non-problem, sort of. We don't extract the audio from it in any way. Actually, I didn't even think about that. The way redump handles factory showroom kind of sucks. It didn't occur to me until just now. Wait a minute. How does that work? Archive. Hold on. 3 drive. Output. Do we have a factory where we have merged the queues? No. But we do have the split. So if I mount this, okay, we have the audio CD. And I go to VLC. Playback, open disk, audio CD, dev SR4, play. Okay. So the way that it does it with the bin queue, the data is in there in the bin file. And it just skips it. Interesting. I don't remember how that worked on DAO now. I'm gonna have to go home and look at old rip, because this is in the first track. If we import that as raw data into Audacity, we can see the hidden track, but this just skipped it, which is how it should work. All right, that's weird. Okay. I'm going to not comment on that right now. Oh, I was going to try and fix this, but then I didn't because, yeah, that was the better way to handle it. Okay, status JSON. We don't need to worry about that. Okay. I'm going to merge it into main. I'm doing it. Hold on. Git diff. I guess git commit am world's smallest readme update. Git push. Okay. Now, if I remember, git checkout main git merge web git push origin main. So now main massively updated. Okay, so we're no longer working in the web branch. There we go. That was big. I like how we were 117 commits ahead of main, which was more than half of all of them. What on earth? I've never seen that dialogue from Kate before. It was messing with me. Okay. Now there are some problems that are still not handled. One of the things in the README there was mixed mode disks. Data disk has tracks with audio may return metadata that includes the data tracks. This currently causes off by 1 error. So the CD stub disk actually has a mixed mode track. So does driver here. We could rip this as a sample if it didn't take a million years. Might go grab Quake and see how fast that rips. So Music Brains currently, it seems, returns data or returns CD data that says that track 1 is the data track, and I would have to offset the index by 1 to remove the data track from the track titles. But I don't know that I have anything set up to communicate that to the wave to FLAC converter. Let me go grab a copy of Quake and see how it behaves. Because I don't like ripping driver because it acts weird. Quake is probably a much more sensible disk to use. See, here's a copy of Quake 2. I think the CD is not in there. No, it is not. I was kind of hoping to find a loose jewel case one. I don't think Need for Speed. Yeah, I'll just grab actual Quake. That's on the shelf behind the filming area. Okay. Because in theory, this should be a popular enough release that it has a Music Brains entry. It'd be hilarious if this also... Oh, there's 2 of them in here. Why? Is one of these the Mac one? There's 3 copies of Quake in here. What gives? Oh, there's the mission packs. I stuck those in there. I'm smart. There we go. Oh gosh, bottom opened. All right. Let's launch the 3-drive version. Oh, I got the error. Uh-oh. Okay, that's a settings error. Oh no. Open. No such permission. USB. TT0. What? Why couldn't it open the serial port? Oh, cool. That's delightful. The power supply fell down and I think just destroyed my USB-C cable. Well, at least we finished the software before that happened. Ah! Yep. All right. That sucks. A lot. I can't use it now. All right, well, I think we actually call it there for today. We'll look at the next, because it's not like I was going to fix this problem in 9 minutes anyway. So, you know what? We'll just, we'll pick this up next Friday. I might solve the cable problem by then, or maybe we'll fix the cable problem on Friday. Who knows? Okay. All right, well, that was still a very successful day. That really sucks that killed that cable, man. I'm kind of ticked about that. Oh, well. The USB panel adapter that I put on the back of the robot is inset into a piece of cardboard that I used as a panel. The cardboard is too thick. So I took that cable and I cut some of the plastic molding off so that the port stuck out farther so it could reach deeper into the cardboard. So now I'm going to have to actually fix the back panel, which means disassembling the robot, messing up the camera alignment, so that I can use a regular cable, which means I got to come up with a different real back panel solution. So that's why it sucks. Yeah. No rain issues at all. Yeah, I guess we just stopped worrying about rain. Weird. So, all right. But yeah, that's going to make a problem that I actually have to solve now. So, all right. We'll figure that out later, because I don't think I'm actually going to be able to solve the panel off stream while working on other stuff. That's a totally different kind of issue. So yeah, all right, it's outro time. Sleep on it. It's not really something I could sleep on. It has to be solved. That there's no other solution for that because it prevents me from being able to plug in other cables. So, yep. Okay, well, it was still an overall very productive day. It's just, yeah. So, all right. We will continue on this Friday, I guess. One day we'll do a stream that's not related to the CD robot and Pi disk rip. I swear it'll happen eventually, maybe theoretically, you know, and maybe. That's it for now. If you guys enjoyed this stream, you may want to follow to be notified when I go live again next. If you want to help support the channel, I am on Patreon, or you can get a shirt like this one. I'm gonna go frolic in the rain now, and I will see you next time.